Katya, my dear.
How's it, guys? And welcome back to Cult Action Reviews, where we look at the weird, the wonderful, and the downright terrible of the action film universe. And today, we've definitely got a terrible one. Directed by trash master Fred Olen Ray, today's film is called Maximum Revenge. I don't know why. The only maximum it gives is the maximum amount of pain. Starring actors you won't know unless you're a big fan of softcore skin flicks that used to air on Cinemax at night in the 90s. This is one of those rare films that makes me so angry to watch it, I didn't think I could get through it. If you gave me a choice between saying one good thing about this film or getting shot in the head, I would gladly shoot myself in the head. And we're gonna check out why in this video. The film begins in grand Fred Olen Ray fashion, with lots of padding. The credits are shown over generic bomb-arming footage music, and you won't know what's going on. At least I didn't. I know they were arming a bomb, that's about it. Why I needed 2 minutes of credits footage to learn this information is beyond me. You also hear another problem with this movie, and it's a huge one. It's the music. It's the most generic 90s action music ever, and the more you listen to it, the worse it gets. Which is a great thing for me, because I listen to it throughout this film. It never ever stops. And my ears were bleeding by the end of it, I assure you of that. Since the lead in this film is a soft-core adult film star, how long do you think it will be until he gets his shirt off? I started timing as soon as the movie began. So, place your bets on when the first shirtless scene will be for the guy in this film. Boring credit sequence over, we jump right into a hostage situation at an airport, as these establishing shots of planes taking off and landing will teach us. Except this is supposed to be an international incident. A prince of another foreign country is held on that plane, and this is all the cops send out. 2 numpties, one of which is Fred Olen Ray himself. And here comes our hero, renegade 90s cop. Also, idiot, because his idea is to just storm the plane and not wait for SWAT. What does SWAT stand for again? Oh right, Special Weapons and Tactics. You know, the guys that are specialized in hostage situations like these. You would also need a negotiator to talk the hostage takers down without anybody getting hurt. But no, our hero thinks the best idea is to go on a plane loaded with people, bad guys and guns, and go it alone, like every renegade cop ever.
You know, nobody gets anything until I come in and talk.
All right. Strip down to your trousers and empty your pockets.
6 minutes. 6 minutes from the start of this film until the hero gets his shirt off. I mean, we all knew it wasn't going to be long. Tell me what your guesses were in the comments. This guy started out in their manual films, those infamous softcore films from the 70s, 80s and 90s. He was in about 5 or 6 of them. And he certainly wasn't chosen for his acting talent, because he has none, if this film is anything to go by.
What the hell do you want?
I should mention that we're about to get into the first action scene of the movie. And the first action scene of an action movie is a very important part of your film. You can use it to set up the good guy, how good he is at his job, how efficient he is at solving problems, and how much of a threat he's going to be to the bad guys. It needs to be well filmed, well choreographed, and well shot to give the audience an impression of what their butts are in the seats for. This is what the audience is here for. They're here for action. They're here for good action, and they're here for a good hero. Think John Wick's apartment siege scene, or John Matrix, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando, taking out the bad guys.
Then you gotta cooperate, right? Wrong.
In these 2 scenes, we get to see exactly who the hero is, how good he is at solving problems, and how capable he is. Maximum Revenge, however, gives us one of the most poorly choreographed and thought out fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. And unfortunately, it really does set the tone for the entire movie. So our hero's stupid plan immediately gets someone killed. Ah yes, the hero uses that brand of martial arts known as fumble fu. And here we have a fight on a plane full of people with guns going off. A plane is a sardine can. Bullets go through people most of the time when they hit them, especially at close range like this. But, you know, renegade cop has to renegade. The dialogue is also the most cliche 90s dialogue ever. It sucks. Whoever wrote this film could have done it with ChatGPT, but since ChatGPT wasn't around in the 90s, Lord knows how he did it.
Next time I come up with another one of my great ideas, why don't you go ahead and shoot me right there and get it over with?
Maybe he just took a bunch of action scripts from other movies and lumped them together. And then after that action scene, the cops just leave. They don't stop the hostages, take them to hospital or anything. They don't go onto the plane and arrest the bad guys that are still alive. No, they just leave. Bye-bye. That's it. No collecting evidence, nothing. And this is actually going to come back to bite our hero in the arse. We now get perhaps the movie's most unrealistic scene. A cop actually getting charged for screwing up. You see, during that fight on the plane, he actually killed the prince. You know, the prince of the foreign country, the one that is giving America oil. Well, the prince was trying to cheat his brother out of money, but that doesn't matter to the State Department, because of course it doesn't. You see, now our hero's in serious trouble. The government wants his head. He may have taken out the bad guys and only killed one hostage, but he has to be charged. And his boss suggests that he plead guilty. Yep, that's what his boss says. I know a DA, you'd better plead guilty. And you'll only do about 6 months in Innsmouth, which is a H.P. Lovecraft reference, by the way. Fred Olen Ray loves his references. So this is just a dumb scene. Apparently the hostages can't vouch for him because they didn't see anything. Okay. And if they hadn't left all the evidence on the plane, they could have exonerated him. But then again, this numpty still got a hostage killed with his really stupid rash act.
You also got 2 people killed, one of which happens to be the brother of Sultan Muhammad al-Razuli.
So, he kind of deserves to go to prison, really. We go straight from that into this scene, which serves absolutely no purpose in the film, except maybe to pad the runtime, and for a bit of exposition. You see, this dude is a reporter. He offhandedly mentions that the bad guys that survived our hero's little action scene are now free, because they got away somehow. I mean, would have been fun for Fred to show us that, you know, in an exciting jailbreak scene, but nah, he'd rather have this dude talk about it. And we get a bit of exposition. We get a tease of a lovemaking scene, which doesn't even show anything. The scene really serves no purpose, and there are not even any boobs to keep you entertained. At least the guy gets his shirt off for the ladies and some of the men in the audience, but man, you could cut this out and the movie would be a lot better. You know why? It would be shorter and you wouldn't have to suffer through as much of it. And then these guys get killed and they never come into play in the movie again. Nobody even mentions them. The only thing worth mentioning from this scene is that the bad guys take this guy's press pass, which they're going to use later for their brilliant plan, because their brilliant plan is as good as Alan Rickman's in Die Hard. We then jump to 6 months later, where it turns out our hero did indeed plead guilty, and he's going to this brand new high-tech prison called Innsmouth, which is located in the center of the city. They make a big thing about this, the prison being located so close to the civilian population. But it doesn't really matter, none of this matters. All you need to know is that our hero has gone to jail, and we're finally starting to see what kind of movie this is. That's right, it's a Die Hard ripoff. Now, Innsmouth is supposed to be a prison for the toughest, most deadly men alive. And these guys are the guys that they drag out of the prison van. Yep, deadliest men alive. Man, they don't even look like they'd worry my cat very much. We're now introduced to our female character in the movie, another softcore adult actress. Her name is Landon Hall, and trust me, she's more wooden than Pinocchio's toes. This woman definitely can't act, and wasn't chosen for her acting, let's say. She introduces us to the hardened criminals in a really long, boring, drawn-out scene, where the cops even tell them how to stand. I think Fred was just trying to make this movie as long as possible, and it barely reaches 80 minutes as it is. So he had to do a lot of padding to hit the feature length mark. We learn that these guys are bombers, kidnappers, embezzlers, the usual type of hardened criminal that you get in this kind of film. And here's where the press pass stolen earlier comes into play, because nobody's revoked the dead guy's press pass in 6 months. His job didn't think to do that. So this dude can just impersonate him with the guy's ID. I don't think that's how it works. Especially if you're getting let into a maximum security prison.
Okay, cut.
Perfect, babe. Beautiful.
Now here come the bad guys using the most obvious ploy ever, used in, well, almost every movie ever made, really. Every low-effort movie ever made. These guys from Fred Olen Ray's Kitchen Services, FOR, are here to break into the prison. And because the guards are complete flipping idiots, it's really easy. Because the guards let them in and then search the van. You search the van outside the gates, you flipping idiots. That's how it works. You don't let them in and then search it. Have you never heard of the Trojan horse? Fred was either very proud of this prison set that they'd rented, or he was trying to pad out the movie. Probably a little bit of both. So we get a lot of meaningless talk about how good this prison is going to be, how it has all these facilities. None of it matters. None of it comes into play. It's just useless information. A good movie would have used these scenes to set out the layout of the prison. You know how Die Hard spends its first moments setting out the layout of Nakatomi Towers, so that you know where John McClane will be, where the bad guys are, that kind of thing. None of that here. They just walk down samey looking corridors, speaking complete rubbish. Oh, and Fred, typically in dialogue scenes, you want to put the guy talking on camera so that people know who's talking, not just have him talk from off camera around the back.
Come on, Warden. I mean, isn't this just another form of loafing?
Competence? This movie has none of it. Not a single iota. And it gets worse. It was about this point in the movie that I started to question what the bad guy's plan was. They're breaking into a prison after all. A maximum security prison. And why are they doing this? The film never actually explains it. There's something about the prison being in the population center of the city. But surely it would be easier to break in somewhere else, like, you know, an abandoned building or something. Put the bomb there and blow it up, because that's their whole plan, basically. Blow up a bomb, kill a lot of people. That's the plan in a nutshell. Why do they have to break into a maximum security prison to do this? I don't know. The movie doesn't know. I suspect the only reason is because Fred Olen Ray had the prison set, they wanted to do a Die Hard knockoff, and they left it at that. As we have more meaningless footage of the warden bigging up his prison, we have the typical Die Hard inner something setup scene, where the bad guys all put their plan into action. You'd think this guy would have noticed there are no bullets in that magazine. Hardened, trained killers here. So they shoot a bunch of guards and they take over the prison. This should have been a lot shorter and a lot more cut down. But hey, Fred has to make the 80 minutes somehow, doesn't he?
That's great.
While the bad guys are taking over the prison unimpeded, the reporter lady, Landon, uses her feminine wiles to secure a personal interview with the warden. How unsexy.
I suppose I could spare a few minutes.
But what I want to know is, with all the talk about how secure and high-tech this prison is, and with all the cameras everywhere, how the heck do the guards on duty not notice the bad guys walking around killing all their buddies? I don't know, the movie doesn't answer it, they just don't, because apparently this prison is hiring blind men as guards. There we go, almost 30 minutes into the movie, the bad guys finally have control of the prison. And as the warden's walking around giving the reporter lady his little personal tour, they walk into the control room and fail to see the bad guys standing just off screen. My God, everyone in this movie is either blind or stupid or both.
Not much chance of you being the Pope now, is there?
Stefan, would you call for the truck?
One thing you'll notice from this scene as well, Fred Olen Ray seems to think that high tech means lots of beeps. Because that's how high tech works. If it ain't beeping, it ain't high tech, son.
If you would kindly provide the master override computer control codes, we'll be in and out with a minimum of fuss. Your job or this lady's life?
Man, his job or this woman's life? Have you lived in this friggin' economy? Do you know how hard it is to get a job right now? I'd probably choose the job too over this idiot. Man, you'd think she could react to someone getting shot? I mean, they could have just got someone to stab her in the ass with a pin every time they needed a reaction shot. At least it would have given us something rather than this blank wooden expression. The film is really dragging here and really boring my tits off, which is a shame because I just sewed them on from that bloody Predator ripoff last time. We're getting long drawn out scenes of the bad guys putting their plan into action. They bring the bomb in, they bring the satellite up, whatever. None of this is important, none of it makes any sense, and none of it is explained. There's still no action. It's almost 40 minutes into this movie, and there's still no action. Great! I am having so much fun. Can't you see? Yeah, it's okay, woman. Don't help him or anything. Just wait until he gets shot. Yep, now he's dead. And it's your fault. Because you didn't do anything. Man, that's a genuine face jump scare. What was that shot? Yeah. Now, finally, almost 40 minutes in, it's finally become Die Hard in a prison. Except with the most useless heroes, worst actors, and, well, just everything is bad, really. The prisoners are let out to cause some mischief, and the plot can finally get going. It only took us 36 minutes to get here. Isn't it great, ladies and gentlemen? Now we get this version of this film's action, drama, and excitement as the prisoners run away from the bad guys and keep going down very straight corridors, not taking any of the turnings, just going straight, you know, and somehow they manage to lose the idiot bad guys because the bad guys are as stupid as the good guys in this film. This is going to go on forever, isn't it? And now we get another terrible fight scene. And here's the problem with the fight scenes in this film. They're all the same. They're all shot the same, they all happen the same way, and they're all between the same sort of people. Two guys face off one-on-one, they pull a boxing stance, and they move around each other like so. And there's no imagination, no fun, it's badly choreographed, it's just guys overselling punches, you know, looking like they can't fight for shit, which they probably can't. I mean, this guy was known for a different type of thrusting, if you get what I mean. So, all the fights are boring. Every single fight is the same. There's no imagination. There's nothing interesting happening. There's no Jackie Chan-esque invention where he's using bits of the environment. There's nothing. The fight scenes are so friggin' boring and so friggin' unimaginative that you could cut them out of this movie and the movie would be exactly as exciting as it is now. The warden and the lady are trying to escape, and of course the lady gets caught. The warden makes a smart choice and keeps running. The smart choice, because if he keeps running and gets out of the prison, he can actually send backup in and get her out. But she goes, "Damn you!" and puts up a half-hearted fight that doesn't get her anywhere. The warden gets outside and doesn't recognize that the gate guard has changed, the absolute idiot. So of course he gets shot. Brilliant plan, guys. This worked out swimmingly for all involved, didn't it? Still, nothing has happened in this friggin' film. Nothing at all. Nothing of consequence. Oh, and then one of the prisoners decides the best thing to do with a passed out lady is SA. Great. I love films that include stuff like this. Makes me feel so... what's the word? Disgusted. Yeah, that's the word. It's an excuse for some cheap titillation. Thankfully, the hero gets there before the bad guy can do anything about it, and we have another pointless fight scene that is about as exciting as watching porridge get cold in a bowl. I love how Fred tries to make the fight more exciting by cutting to the woman's non-reaction shots. Just because you cut to her face making a little grimace like she's just farted doesn't mean that the fight is exciting, Fred.
You just be glad that you're worth more to me alive than dead right now.
Yeah?
Oh yes, keeping the guy that just tried to essay a woman alive and on your team is a great idea. This hero is a friggin' idiot. Oh, and here we have another example of how blind everyone in this film is. How does he not see them here? I do not understand this film's complete lack of logic. Also, again, the bad guys are looking for the escaped prisoners and the hero and the escaped journalist. They have a camera room in the control room, for frick's sake. All they have to do is look at the camera feed. Then they'll see where the guys are wandering around. But nope, don't have to do that. Just wander around this prison so we get more padding of people walking down samey looking corridors. If you gave me a choice between watching this movie again or spending a week in this prison, I would gladly spend the week in the prison. And yes, mate, these guys can't see you through that really clear glass if you crouch down just a little bit. That's how vision works.
If you see or hear anything, let me know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Trust the guy who just tried to assault the woman to watch the door and watch your backs. 'Cause he's obviously trustworthy. Friggin' hell, this hero's an idiot. And while the hero is ostensibly fixing whatever injury the reporter lady has, the other prisoners are bonding. Because apparently this den of thieves, murderers, and bombers are our heroes for the remainder of this movie. We then spend some time explaining what we already know, which is how our hero got into prison. Because apparently none of the hostages saw anything. None of them saw anything. So none of them could corroborate his story. Are you kidding me? Really? Then we have some of the villain's great plan, which is to blame the Arab terrorists for the bomb that's about to go off in the prison. I'm serious, that's their plan. They want to pretend that Arab terrorists are gonna blow up this prison and kill a bunch of innocent people. Okay, whatever. And then as that's happening, the hero and reporter lady decide that in the middle of a dangerous life or death situation where every minute counts, now is the best time to hook up. Man, I can see why Fred Olen Ray cast these two. He had the perfect script for them. Hook up every time there's a lull in the action scenes. But the worst part of it is, you don't even see anything. Not even a poorly filmed sex scene. No bums, no nothing. I don't know if it was cut out and there's a version out there that's unrated, but in this version, nope, no sex. You just get to see the beginning and the end with no nudity. How titillating.
Also, it's better to slash than stab. The wounds are bigger.
Yes, when I talk about slashing men's throats to women, they always say that it's the most romantic thing they've ever heard in their lives. Trust me, guys, try it out. at a bar next time you're out. Tell a woman the best way to slash a throat and really hit that carotid artery so that he spurts blood everywhere. The woman will fall on top of you in no time. Trust me. Wait. Or you'll go to prison. It's one of those two. Love making over with, our numpties all meet up together and they come up with a plan. This dude planted a bomb in the IRS, so he's the best person to disarm the nuke that's in the prison. Well, that's the logic that the hero's working with. I don't think that's logic that normal people would work with. And since these prisoners are now the heroes, we're going to have scenes later where they try to humanize them. Like the guy who planted the bomb. He said he was planting it in an empty building. An empty public building in the middle of a crowded city, where city workers are likely to work at night and security guards are likely to wander around. Because, you know, asking a bunch of rapists, murderers, and mad bombers to help you save the world can only go well. And after the good guys have made their plan, we have another crappy fight scene. Like I've said before, it's shot in a bland, empty corridor. It's shot exactly the same as the other one. It's choreographed exactly the same as the other one. And it's exactly as boring. If there was an award for most boring fight scenes ever made, with the least tension ever, this film would sweep the award showcase. Ah yes, the consequences of your own actions, you idiot hero. Gonzalez takes the woman hostage. Because, you know, trusting the rapist was such a friggin' great idea in the first place. I mean, this cop deserves to be in prison. He is so stupid. So stupid. But we've only got half an hour left, guys. Slightly less than. We're almost there. I can make it. If I hold on to my sanity for just half an hour, I can make it. And now we get to humanize the prisoners. Funnily enough, these guys find true love with each other, which I think is actually quite a sweet plot point. The kidnapper and the mad bomber were meant for each other. Quite sweet, really. Yep. Here the chick is saved, only to be captured again, this time by the big baddies. You can't subvert cliches with more cliches, Fred. You just can't.
You a praying man, Croker?
And yeah, I'm very confident that this guy can disarm a nuclear warhead. And now we have shootouts that are just as bad as the fight scenes. In typical bad action movie fashion, nobody can hit anyone. Just doesn't happen. So the hero ends up running out of bullets and having to get into a fight with this guy, who then knocks the hero down and pulls a knife. And for one brief moment, for one brief, ever so lovely moment, there was a glimmer of hope inside my soul that we would have some kind of a knife fight, which would have brought... There's a word that this movie hasn't approached yet. Excitement. But instead of that, the guy just gets shot from behind. Fight over. Great. You had a chance to have some kind of fun, and you took it from me. You took it from me, Fred Olen Ray. Another one of the prisoners gets killed, and somehow the bad guy doesn't manage to shoot the hero, who is not even in cover. How do you miss? The cops are going to do nothing. They're going to arrive too late and do nothing throughout the film. So their involvement in this script is for padding and padding alone. They don't even have any comic relief like we did in Die Hard. After we know that the cops are on the way, we have the hero's big fight with the main henchman. I say big fight. They shoot at each other, and even though both of them are standing still, both of them miss because both of them couldn't hit the broad side of a friggin' barn if it was 2 feet in front of them. And then we have another terrible fight scene that ends terribly. Finally, we're at the climax, and Fred thinks the best way to spice up the fight scenes? Yeah, the addition of a mop does not make this fight any more exciting. And honestly, this film is so bad that even the girl-on-girl cat fight is dull as dishwater. But we have the fight, the bad guys die, woohoo! And you would think they would have some form of urgency after the bad guys are dead. The friggin' nuke is still ticking away, going beep 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 in the middle of the room, but our heroes know this is a movie and our heroes know they're gonna win. So hey ho, the bomb is defused when they cut the red wire. Who would have guessed? And the fat guy is still alive to share one last touching word with his true love, the Mad Bomber.
Hey, pal. That reading stuff, that would have been fun.
How sweet. This was the only time in the movie I actually felt a glimmer of emotion other than pure, undeniable anger towards this terrible film. Alright, I completely forgot the gate guard was still alive. Well, he gets killed, the cops arrive late as usual. The bomber guy is still alive, but because he tried to help, the hero finagles a pardon for him. Because, you know, people that blow up public buildings should be walking the streets just because. And even the hero gets a pardon from the State Department, even though he's a complete idiot and deserves to be in prison for opening fire in a plane full of civilians. But you know what? This film is a massive cliche and doesn't make any sense when you think about it for even 1 second. And it all ends happily. The Mad Bomber is free, out of prison, ready to blow up the next government office that annoys him. Our hero is free to be a renegade cop and kill a bunch of innocent people, and he gets the girl as well. All the cliche boxes ticked and the movie is finally over. Thank God for that. I hated this one, guys. I really, really did. I hate this movie with every fibre of my being. Now, I know Fred Olen Ray has never actually made what you'd call a good film, but he can make some entertaining stuff now and then. But I think this is lacking in any form of entertainment. It's not even so bad it's good. It's just friggin' boring. It's endless padding, endless shots of people walking around a prison set, endless talking about nothing that means anything, and terrible, abominable fight scenes that are only matched by the acting that is so wooden I have seen cupboards with more range. Don't watch this film. Maximum Revenge was created to do one thing to you and one thing only. Create maximum pain. And that was this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I did not. I need to watch something good now. I think I'll go and watch Commando. I need a good action movie as a palate cleanser. In our next video, we'll take a look at a movie I actually enjoy and see if it can erase the memory of Maximum Revenge. I really hope so, because otherwise I'm going to be scarred for life. See you next time on Cult Action Reviews, guys. Thank you for watching, and enjoy action movies, eh?
One thing.
What?
Don't ever call me kid again.